Figure I'll talk about the Tacons in this video because I feel like people don't realize how much performance they could actually get nowadays for a little amount of money. So at the time, I actually owned two of these. These are the Tacon short course trucks. They're 1/14 scale, brushless. I mean, to get a brushless RC car for, at the time I was getting these for $150. I just tried to, I think I got these on, I forget, I think I got them off some website at the time, but they were like 160, 170. I got two of these. My other one I actually got off eBay for $150. So the deals are out there. You just have to kind of look out for them because they sell pretty quick. People are starting to figure out what they are. So it's actually kind of hard to find the Tacon brand. I was just looking online and they're already kind of going up in price. They're all clones, so I mean they're not Tacon brand, but they're some other brand. I'll show you the picture here. But I looked at them and they look to be the same thing. Maybe even, I think they even have metal control arms where these have the plastic ones. But other than that, I was looking it over on eBay and they look like it's probably the same car, same design. So those look pretty cheap too. They were like $160. You just got to make sure they say brushless. But for the most part, they're insanely durable. I mean, I bought a ton of spare parts thinking, I have a racetrack and I'm going to be breaking these things. And honestly, you really don't break anything on these cars. They're so light that, I mean, they don't really, I'm not hitting trees at full speed or anything, but I mean, we were hitting like other cars head on. Somebody veers off the track and they go onto the straightaway head on into somebody else. And I mean, these things tend to hold up. Like maybe the bumper would crack or something. I think this one's okay. But yeah, nothing really goes on wrong with them. The bodies are pretty chintzy. I mean, I think this really only had one good season to it, and you could see it missing. It's kind of like a shitty plastic. I noticed with the short course trucks, I'm cutting some venting just to get some airflow because they tend to parachute when they really get some air. You'll see it, I'll show you. Put some vents here so when the air goes up under the car, it comes back up over. Drilled some holes in the back just to get that air out. Put a vent here and lowered the body. This car right here is pretty set up. I mean, I got the shocks all dialed in, and this one is seen some miles. I mean, this one's my first one. It's really old, and really the only thing that goes wrong with them is if you don't have the spurs set up right, they tend to shred gears. Most of my problems, though, with shredding the spur gears was initially the batteries I was using were just 3-cell LiPos, just way overpowered. I mean, this car is so fast, you do not need those. My brother's still using these batteries in his, and first of all, they're insanely heavy. They're big batteries. I was using these 3-cell 2100 milliamp hour. They're they're heavy. They last long, I'll give it that, but it's not worth it. I mean, they're heavy. They don't like staying in the car. You have to really, I strap them and I even duct tape them just to keep them in, but it's not worth it because they end up shredding the gears. It's just too much power. So I went down to the smaller ones, and just way better on wear and tear. But I mean, other than that, I mean, this one was new, and the motor actually ended up going. It could have got wet and then like rusted or something in there. I'm not really sure what happened. The battery or the motor just cut out and it was pretty dead. So I had to get a new motor. But all these parts are so cheap. They're like, a new motor was like 20 bucks, not even. So you can find all these parts on lcracing.net, I think. Sells a lot of these parts. So I get like bearings, because you will need bearings, because those go. Maybe some shock rebuild kit stuff is good to have on hand. The steering servo went on me once in my other car, but that car's 3 years old, and it was getting it might have been the bearing in here was kind of shot, so it messed up the servo eventually. But this one's been okay. The short course truck is a little bit longer than their buggy. The buggy is a little bit shorter wheelbase. So I kind of like the short course, the longer base. They do sell the truggy bodies. So I do have a body that turns this car into the buggy, and I have the wheels for it. But I feel like the short course is just the way to go. They're fun. You know, you don't have to worry about breaking wings or anything. They just have these basic truck bodies that you just smash up, so it's just kind of fun and less of a hassle. The only thing is the batteries that it comes with are just awful, and then their ESC is just like two-sided tape right on top, and that just falls off almost like your first drive. So you have to, I double side tape it down there, and I even super glue it down to the metal body, and then I get rid of those stock connectors, and I usually put the XT60s on. That way it's just easier getting these style connectors than whatever weird connectors that come stock on it, because that original battery is just terrible. You need to go with the lipos, and the 2 cells is where it's at. You got to get, you know, these 2200 milliamp hour 2 cell batteries. They fit perfect in the car, and these things are just a great deal. I mean, they got metal shock tower braces, so these things are never gonna break off. They got metal shocks. It's just insane, like metal freaking drive shaft. I took apart the differentials and upgraded the differentials in my other car, and I filled it with fluid because I just had grease in them. This one's still stock, I think, but it's got planetary gears in the differentials. It's just like, this thing is just insanely good for $150, $160. Definitely try to pick one up. I'll plug this thing in and I'll show you what it's like out on the street, and maybe I'll even go out on the track and try to get some footage. as you can see, it's pretty fast on the 2-cell. On the 3-cell battery, it's just absolutely insane. This thing probably does, I don't know, over 50 miles an hour. Close to 60, I bet. I don't like running it on the tar though, it's kind of harsh on them. Let's try it on the track. Alright, out here at the track, and holy crap, it's grown in quite a bit. That's the one thing about having your own track, guys, is the maintenance. You really have to you have to drive a lot. If you're not racing your car on this thing a lot, in 2 weeks time, you could start really growing grass and trees and the wrong places. So, but all right, I'm gonna try to put this camera down and get some footage of this car on the track. Not sure if it's gonna be able to clear the jumps or not. Battery just fell out again. But yeah, the track, like, just something like this, where these weeds with these 1/14 scale really could get hung up on them. So I'm constantly walking around trying to get the thing unstuck. But as you can see, like right there, this thing, once it gets ripping, it really could churn up this track pretty good. But that jump there, it's just, that lip is huge. Like, I need to reshape that, kind of send me further rather than up. But definitely need to run the bigger car with 110 scale on here and just really dig this track up. And then these little cars run way better. But yeah, that's the 1/14 scale Tacons. Insanely good performance for the money. I mean, this thing at full speed, once the track's groomed right, this thing can keep up with a 110 scale. It's crazy. And especially because the 110 scales, when they flip over, they tend to flip over a lot. Where this thing tends to land on its feet most of the time, especially if you have it lowered. My other one's lowered more. This is the stock ride height. I think I lower the body a little bit, but not by much. My other one's way lower. But yeah, I'm gonna get some more footage, get this track going.